Today I have with me Kelsey Decker, who's been called to the sex trade industry.
Sex trade. So anywhere that women are being exploited, trafficked, we go into. These are women behind glass windows. And so they are being put on display like a zoo animal.
I feel like my pride is being called to death right now.
I'm not just a leader, I'm a survivor. Really, the commonality is that almost every single person in the sex industry was sexually abused as a child. Being out of God's will is more uncomfortable than going into the uncomfortable places.
If it's comfortable and it's nice and you feel it's great, it's likely not of the Lord. Because He sends us to the hard places to break the ground. It's nice and comfy for everybody behind us, though.
Hey there, Colette Toach here. Welcome to the Apostles' Digest. Colette and I are here to give you language to your prophetic and apostolic process. Upgrade your subscription at apostlesdigest.com and receive a fresh off the press book, plus an exclusive resources crafted for your prophetic and apostolic mandate. And now over to Colette for part 2 of the Unfiltered Realities of Pioneering in the Sex Trade with Kelsey Decker.
You know, you were saying that every one of them are there for different reasons, and certainly with that abuse, I mean, you're seeing a strong demonic stronghold there too. With a lot of the stories you share, I know a lot of it is also financial, that the reason why a lot of these girls stay there is just they have no other financial means. And then once you're in that cycle, to then make the shift to something else without any external help, like, how do you even make it? I mean, your mindset, considering if you've been abused from a young child, your mindset doesn't even allow for a different story. You can't even paint a different picture in your mind of what things could be unless someone came along and told you that there was an option. If you've been programmed with that mentality since you were a young child, it's going to take an external voice. I mean, even reading your book, your story, it wasn't an overnight instant boom. It was a process of you had to go through your deliverance, you had to go through your healing, and then you had to get a place to stay. And thank the Lord for the people there that supported you and helped you make those steps. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as easy for you to have made those steps. And so I'm just looking at what you're doing on so many levels. I mean, sure, we can go in and evangelize, and we can go in and do the deliverance, all super important. But can we also look at some realities? They need financial support. Can we talk about money?
Yeah.
Can we talk about money? Because I know that there are a lot of people want to help, and they're like, we'll pray for you and we can cast out the demons for you. And, we can, let me see if there's a program out there that we can set you up in. I mean, and that's all great. But can we talk about money? What does it really take to help somebody through this transition?
Oh, it takes money, and they need money. That's just the reality of it. And think about going back to the mindset. And I'm glad you brought her up today, because I'm going to message her because she's at her new job today. And that is not just going to be easy. Let's talk about that. Her going into a 9-to-5 job where her previous job, it's total chaos. Okay, you're surrounded by all of this stimulation. You are overstimulated. Noise, the music, this super high paced, to now your nervous system, right, has to slow down. You're going to be in a completely different environment. The chances that, or of her freaking out or having some moments where it's just like, I can't do this, are very real. Like, she's going to continue to need support through that. I have another gal, here in my city who we helped out of the sex trade as well. She had been trafficked, and she's in a really good environment, but everything's great now. She's getting her GED, she has a great place to live, but she can't sleep. She can't sleep, and she's having trouble sleeping. And she's like, Kelsey, I just can't sleep. And she's having sleep paralysis, and she's being tormented, right? So of course we need to go through some deliverance, things like that. But it's also, she and I've had so many conversations, and I'm like, you're safe now. It's okay. You are safe. I have to tell myself that still. I have to tell myself, you are safe now. You are okay. And
Mm.
so that doesn't just go away overnight. So it is a journey. So it's not only
Mm.
helping them through, but it's helping, afterwards. It's a continual thing. Coming out of being trafficked or coming out of the sex industry takes a very, very long time. We're dealing with, complex PTSD. We're talking about disassociation. I talk about that frequently of like, wow, okay, we're used to just not being here, not being present. And now
Mm.
we have to be present and we have to feel all the things and go through that. That was the biggest thing when I came to Christ. I'm like, wow, I actually want to be here. This is amazing. Like I actually want to be.
That's incredible. You just sharing, you just saying this stuff like, yeah, well, obviously this is the way it is. But for somebody like me on the outside, I am seeing a side and feeling a side of your journey that I would never have anticipated. As believers, especially if we had safe environments, you kind of just assume you're safe.
Mm,
But that you have to tell yourself and remind even these women that once they're out, they're safe. This is such a very specific phrase. You are safe. It just gives me a very small piece of what it must feel like to be on the other side, that you feel so unsafe in that environment, that you disassociate, that you're not present, that you're not there. Could you talk a little bit about that? Explain that to me.
the disassociation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Why it is
absolutely.
such a part of that process.
Mhm. So it is. So two things really to be able to make it through. Whether that's even some of these women are just homeless and all of the different situations make it through even the acts themselves, the sex acts.
Mm.
So two things, you're either going to get drugged up. So you're on drugs, which is a different form of this disassociation,
Yeah.
but you're going to be on drugs or you actually will just learn how to disassociate at will, even. And so that's where, I mean, we're fragmenting. So then there's going to be all these
Mm-hmm.
different parts, right, of our hearts and, our soul. We're just completely not present anymore. And so what happens then is we have to, once we come out of those environments, that's when all of those pieces have to come back together, right? They have to come back together. And it's not just a one time thing. Jesus is so wonderful. He takes us through that process of bringing it all back. But we do that out of survival. It is a complete
Mm.
survival mechanism. And when you are in survival mode, it is intense. I mean, the things that the regular person, the regular Christian is thinking about is not what women in survival mode are thinking. I mean, we go, oh
Mm.
my gosh, how could they make that decision? How could they keep, getting themselves,
Yeah.
oh, they keep making
Yeah.
stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And it's like they're doing what they have to do to survive. And that's real. That is real. We're talking about putting food on the table. I had a woman reach out to me that I've been walking with closely for the past couple of months, and she called me 2 days ago, and she said, "Kelsey, I haven't been honest with you about everything." And this is a woman that we met through the online sex trade. We have provided, she has been in 4 different homes since we met her, just keeps bouncing around, ran away when she was 14. She has a 4-year-old son. He just turned 4 last week. And we provided food, clothing, these things, but we tried to get her into some rescue homes and it's just not happened. And so talk about discouraging. I mean, those
Yeah.
were some days I wanted to give up. I was just like,
Mm.
all so frustrating. It's like it looks like there's all these resources out there, and then when you get down to it, there's really not. You just spin in circles a lot of times helping these women. And I've probably spent 40 to 60 hours just working with this one woman trying to find her, somewhere to go. But she calls me and then says, haven't been completely honest with you. And for me, that was the most beautiful moment. I'm not mad at her that she's, lied to me about some things. She's been living on the streets for 10 years, almost 10 years. She is in survival mode. She is a hustler. You do what you have to do, right? And so I'm not judging her. And so we talked about it and I was like, thank you so much for being honest with me. And right now, as we speak, she is on her way to another city. I was talking with her all morning and she's finally getting into a shelter and with this organization that's going to help her. And she's like, I feel like this is really the one. She said, I really do. I can feel it in my heart. So we are praying for her today. But that's the thing, right? People are doing what they have to do, and we have to God gives us so much grace, and we need to extend that grace.
Ooh, and Kelsey, nobody would have judged you. Nobody would have even been surprised if you had washed your hands of her and said, well, guys, we did everything we can. There are many other people out there who need our help. We go to many places. Maybe she didn't take it, but if they want what I've got, they should come and get it. And I'm going to go invest into those where I'm going to see real fruit. You could have said that. And there's not a person in this world that would have thought anything of it.
Mhm.
And yet, as you're saying those words, you make me cry again. Good grief. I'm a wreck. This podcast, I got like no mascara left. You know how many times I've said those words, though, about people that I'm just like, all right, I've had enough. I've invested. I pushed through. I'm going to set my boundaries. And it's like, you could have, but you didn't. And she lied to you and she wouldn't go to the shelters and she goes back to that lifestyle. And you didn't give up. Because why? Because God has grace for us and you have grace for them. And it's this, I've got a word that I grew up saying in South Africa, chutzpah. It's a Jewish word. You got the
I love it.
chutzpah. You had the chutzpah to keep pressing through with that one rebellious sheep that probably may never even come right. And that says everything to me about you. That says everything to me about you. And it takes away every single one of my excuses. It does. Because when God gives you a responsibility, when God puts that in your heart, one of the other apostles that I just interviewed, he said, when God gives you a territory, it's a burden. You will cry in the night. You could wake up. It's such a burden. You can't shake it. You can't get rid of it. Even when you're tired, you just carry it. And if you don't have that burden, you're not called. Go home. But everything I hear from you is the burden. The burden. I see it like just as Apostle Paul said, the weight of the churches. For you, it's the weight of this woman, the weight of the territory you've been called to. Now, Kelsey, here's another one that I really want to, before I ask you to speak into our audience a bit more, I want to talk again a little bit on the money side. Practically speaking, how can people help support that? Because when we look across the board, social media, different organizations, nobody's really sure if the money is going to where it should go. You got a lot of scams out there. How do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you handle the money that comes into your organization?
Yeah. So, our operating costs, just operating costs alone are about $3,000 to $3,500 a month.
Okay.
That's just for people don't realize the subscriptions, we have to have. $200 we pay for that online outreach. We have to have a Google Voice number so that people, aren't having our personal numbers. We have a text devotional line that we have to pay for every month.
I
There are
understand.
all the things, right? And then there's the going out and we are tangibly helping the women. And so we are taking food, we are taking clothing, we are taking hygiene products, and then we are even just giving money in different situations, whether it's helping pay rent or pay, electric, things like that. And so, everything that is given is going towards, like is going towards these women and helping them. And so however that looks, but people often overlook the operating costs of an organization
Yes.
and what it takes to run that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Exactly, they really do. And really, if you think about it, 3.5 grand a month is not a lot.
No,
That's not even a salary. That's not even a salary to
no.
support just a single person in this economy. Let's be honest, and that's not a lot. And okay, I'm really going to challenge our listeners. I
Yeah.
mean, really, 3,500 guys, that should be covered. Like that, that shouldn't even be thought of because you need 5 times that to do the job you're doing.
Yes.
You know, I was watching how much it took for you to get Cassie out of her situation, to get her in a safe place for her kids, you know, so that they could have a roof over her head. And let's be honest, it's going to take a month or two before she gets a job and before she can even get a salary. So who's going to do it? You know, you had a couple who took you in when you went through that transition. They signed for you for your rent agreement. And if it hadn't been for them, you would have been in a very difficult position to make some hard choices. And when you're put in that place, what choice are you going to make when you don't know anything else? If you read Kelsey's book, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there are 5 people listening to this who are going to give them $1,000 a month. I see you. There are 5 patrons, each of you, to support $1,000 a month because God actually wants your operating expenses to be higher. There are some other programs, in fact, you haven't told me, but by the Spirit, there are some other programs that you need to enroll in,
Yes.
and they're going to cost more money. I see it in the Spirit, and the Lord said, this will be the sign that you enroll in those and reach those people. Listen, guys, I don't have the grace that Kelsey does, and right now, I'm going to go spend time with Jesus because after everything she told me, I don't even know if I have the love that Kelsey does. I am so challenged in my love. I am so challenged in my pride, thinking, oh, okay, Lord, this is the price I paid. I haven't even begun to pay a price. And I know for some of you listening, that same conviction's coming on you. And look, we're looking at a woman of God here that is self-funded. She's supported by those that want to support. And she's going to go to Amsterdam by herself if she has to. This is not somebody who is backed by some big organization. This is someone who has been given a territory, a territory I can't even imagine. I mean, if you had it, listen, girl, if you had to put me in a brothel, I'd be like standing at that door going, I don't even know the first thing to say. I wouldn't even know where to look. I would be so awkward. You know, you put me in my lane, I'm great. So I thank God for you that you're doing what a lot of us know needs to be done in the kingdom. But are we willing to put our money where our mouth is? And I know, Kelsey, you didn't come talking about money, and it certainly wasn't on the agenda as we were talking. But I feel this burden for the finances right now for this ministry, for you to go where God needs you to go next. And you are going to other countries to do this too, to raise up local teams. You're going to need to be funded. And this is something I'm very passionate about. I'm reaching out to you, audience. There's a giving link. I'm going to get that giving link from you with the end of and we're going to be putting it. I want $1,000 per month from 5 patrons to support this work. And that's just the basics, guys. For those of you who know you need to go, but don't have the ability and courage, we can fund her to go because we know that she's willing to do the hard thing. Kelsey, as we're closing, is there something you could tell my audience? Are there some words that you can invest into them about their call to go?
Yes. It would be to go no matter what. It really go no matter what. When I first started doing this outreach, I was going into the strip clubs. I personally had nowhere to live. Like I was staying with the various different people. I didn't even have a car. I would borrow somebody's car to go to outreach, to meet the team, to go to outreach. But there was such a burden. Like you said, that burden to go. Like I have to do this no matter what. And so even when the Lord called me to a different region and I would drive 4.5 hours one way every 3 or 4 weeks, I did that when it was hard. And so do not allow all of the external things to discourage you from doing what the Lord is calling you to do. If he is calling you, he will provide It may not be in the moment you want it to be, but he will provide. He will do all the things, right? He gave me this word when I wrote Mary Magdalene. He said, "You write that book and I will provide everything." So you better believe the day it came out, I was like, okay, I'm looking at my watch. Well, I need you to provide everything now. I did it. And so, but it's taken years for that to come and manifest. And so, but his promises, right, are they don't run void. They're not void, right? So keep going. Do not allow the discouragement. Yeah, you'll get discouraged, but don't give up. It's okay to
Come
be
on.
discouraged. It's okay to have your days, when the enemy is fighting you and you don't want to get out of bed. And you know how many times, driving to outreach and I'm like, I do not want to go. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get out of bed that morning. And you just go anyway. Our ministering for like 6 months. I had it here, but Deuteronomy 28, and it's the blessings for obedience. And so read that, because my team, we would read that before every single outreach, where the Lord lays out the blessings for your obedience. He also lays out the curses for disobedience. So I I don't like to focus on that part, but the blessings. We don't do these things for the blessing, right? We do it because we love the Lord. I truly have a fear of the Lord. I have that instilled in me. That was my come to Jesus moment, was the fear of the Lord that filled me up. And so I never want to just be out of his will for my life. And so that is more uncomfortable. Being out of God's will is more uncomfortable than going into the uncomfortable places, than stepping out. And, that aspect, be uncomfortable there in his will, rather than being uncomfortable because you're out of his will. Like, that's torture. That's hell for me. Like, talk about hell. That's being out of obedience and out of the will of God. And so how many people are walking in that way, not truly doing what he's asking us to do, because we have all of the excuses. And I am nobody special. I fight this. I had, a woman on my team. She was praying into me this morning, and she's like kind of the visionary of this organization. And she was speaking life, kind of the same things you were speaking. And so that's why I'm like, wow. And she said, Kelsey, like, the reason God gives you this is because you don't want it.
Oh my God, that's a quote. I actually want to make that a quote. The reason why God's giving you this is because you don't want it. Every single pioneer I've spoken to has said the same thing. I said, if it's comfortable and it's nice and you feel it's great, it's likely not of the Lord. Because he sends us to the hard places to break the ground. It's nice and comfy for everybody behind us, though. After we've broken the ground, for those that come after us, then it's comfortable. But when we're the ones breaking the ground, it's not comfortable. And you know what? It's not meant to be, but also God's given us the grace for it.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the grace for it.
Yeah.
But when you walk in his obedience, you'll be astounded how that grace comes on you as a mantle. And I don't think you really know what you've got, what it takes, until you do it.
They do it.
Because we look at ourselves in the mirror and you kind of say, well, could I do that? I know what God's telling me to do, but is it possible? You actually only know when you're in the thick of it. You look around going, oh, wow, I'm actually doing this. I don't feel great, but I'm doing this. And I'm more capable than, well, God saw something in me I didn't see in me. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for taking your time to come and speak to my audience. Guys, apostlesdigest.com. Go subscribe. Apostles Digest is a monthly ebook publication. It's an audio and it's a podcast. Go and subscribe. Get the ebook this month, but also subscribe to the podcast channel so you don't miss out on the next one. Every single one of these imparts something into me, and you have imparted so much into me today, Kelsey. Thank you so much for coming and investing into all of us.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Hey there, Colette Toach here. Thank you for engaging in the Apostles Digest podcast. Congratulations in taking time to invest into your call. Now let's stay connected. Visit apostolic-network.com to message Colette and me and link arms with others in your apostolic journey. Blessings, and see you on the next episode.